Okay, let's start it. You're saying you can say best. Don't say fuck the will be best. Is being 13% plus good enough for you? No. If you want something, you gotta get after it and you start producing good result and you build confidence along the way. They just start to chase. You have tennis techniques that I swear by as medical students. They help me get into the medicine and I use these on a day-to-day basis. Half of them focus on the actual study techniques and the other half focus on the study mentality, which is just as important. Let's start with the first one. First, to study fundamental core materials hours. So let's say the parts represents all the information that is presented to you and you start in the middle. It is the material. Someone who doesn't know how to study will go from top to bottom covering every single detail. And when next time comes sums, they haven't covered like 20 to 30% of what is technical. Whereas someone who knows how to study will start from the middle, study from the core materials, then study ball and then study hours and then next time comes terms. Or they have studied everything, they studied what is important and what is testable. And they they put to be best student as possible and they want to be the best doctor as possible. So studying we have this tendency to try to learn everything. But we have to make this mindset shift from focusing on those long-term goals to short-term goals, and then those short-term goals when you're taking courses, just to pass and get good grades in every midterm and every exam that's presented before you and then you those long-term will take care of themselves. So do you know what is testable or not? There are three ways of previewing that. First is to look for process test or previous test. Sometimes the lecturers give you, a couple questions in the lecture to overearn. Pay attention to those. I also looked online in undergrad to figure out if there are any process tests lying around and I asked seniors if they have taken a course and if they had any participative materials. I asked my friend who was not taking a course, you know, you could use your resources to figure out if there are any additional study materials that you can use. You can have this thing like a seminar. And a lot of when you go and go materials, always imagine in your mind how can I test this in multiple choice. For math, I can test this in the short answer format. And then try to learn way. Not to unless they try good courses notes and then plan out for your timing for midterms and all your times and constantly evaluate your studying so that you're not falling behind. So for example, let's say you're taking 5 courses and before midterm you're gonna have over 10 lectures per course. And then each lecture has 50 slides. That totals up to 2500 slides that you have to go over before midterm. So you have to write a good courses notes, it summarizes everything. It makes it imaginable for you to go to materials before you write a good midterm so you're not overloaded. Children notes resources are possible containing keywords and important information. You know that if you don't remember something from your notes, you can have PowerPoint slides you can always fall back on. The most thing on this is to use active requirement learning. I made a video on this previously that you can watch, but let me expand on that for here. And start off by giving you examples of students who don't know how to study. So when you present it with information like mitochondria, its powerhouse of a cell, what they do is without thinking, this is right. Nothing is coming to the brain. So what I do when I'm going over my notes is when I read the information, I read only the keywords. As both looking at my notes and looking at the keyword. For example, what is mitochondria? And you think mitochondria is the part of our powerhouse of a cell. What is why powerhouse of a cell? And you to supplement information for nature is powerful so because produce ATP. So when I'm losing all of my senses, writing down which is my tactical motion. I'm saying things that which is verbal. I'm looking at my nose. Previously, I'm losing my visual cues. I'm saying I'm listening so I'm using all my auditory senses more often. We actually could call you cannot remember all information. That's okay because studies have shown that just by attempting to recall, you can recreate the connection between the information in your memory. Number four, I cannot emphasize this enough. Reviewing is just important to learn new information. So if you have 20 lectures to go over before terms, for example, it's supposed to go 1 to 20 and ending about 1 to 20. But there is a to 1 to 5 and then I review 1 to 5 quickly and then I move 20 to 10 And so when this is 10, even more quickly, I go over Spotify and then I look to 10, then I go into 11 to 15. Obviously, you have time to do this quickly before midterm so that you actually cover everything. Number five is more a material thing. You have to study harder for your midterms than your final exams. You're gonna obviously study hard for your final exam, but you have to study harder for your midterms because that sets a tone for the entire course. Let's say the bad mark on a midterm, then the entire course it's just a catch-up game. You're worrying the whole time, but probably 2 3 months worrying about whether you are going to get enough final mark so that you can make up for getting a bad mark on your midterms. Mistake is having a strong mindset throughout school year. I'm gonna come across this a little harshly, but you know, we're saying you're gonna try your best. I would say be the best. It's your best, really the top 1% of your class, your best, top 5% of your class. If the program where you want to get into the end has less than 10% acceptance rate, it's been top 20% of your class good enough for you? No. So you want something, you get after it, and then you start producing good results and you build confidence along the way. Number seven is putting a work in and outworking everyone, which is kind of quantitative to put in this video, but it's because it's a study technique video. But compared to someone who knows only technique but doesn't work hard, and someone who doesn't know any of these techniques but then just putting hours into and getting information into the brain is always going to beat the person with the best techniques. I was a brighter person in my class, so what I did it worst. I just literally outworked everyone. And how do you know that? I walked into a library before everyone else, and I walked out of the library after everyone else, and I spent my time sitting on Friday nights, Saturday night, and then everyone was going out partying, and there was one other student that was living in the library at the same time, night time, and he's now a current student recent at URA. So things like that happen. You just outwork everyone if you really want to be successful. Number eight is getting a serious study partner and a friend who want it as bad as you. But if you think it would be hard to find them, well, if you start studying late nights and elaborate all the time, you tend to come across these guys. It's hard to calculate early in the morning and leaving late at night, coming in on weekends. But in any grade, I had a group of friends who I really studied with, and we didn't interrupt each other. When it was time to study, we studied, we didn't interrupt each other. Whereas in the person that we take care of, we went out and have fun. Um, number nine. Number nine is staying consistent and staying on top of everything, especially in medicine where there's a million things going on. If I start to lose track of things, I get super stressed. So I have to be on top of every email. I have to be on top of every, assessments and all the work I have to do. In undergraduate, doing with 5 courses plus your extracurricular course and everything going on. So you have to be stay on top of things so that you don't fall behind and get stressed. Let me give you an example of residency and why it's so important. Shouldn't be shouldn't I be working Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, so it shouldn't be it decides to work Friday but takes Saturday and Sunday off. And the student B has fallen behind student A by 24 hours. So no matter how hard he tries, the max on Monday, he did 14 hours, about 2 hours, then today studying 16 hours. The guy is always playing catch up to the night, and when you improve in the university or undergrad, you're just going to not be able to compete against student A. Number 10 is effectively controlling anxiety and your worry. When you're going through school, there are two types of warriors. One is someone who doesn't know who is studying and they worry about not studying. That's the solution to that is simple. You just gotta study. Number two is the hidden type warrior. Is someone who worries despite having done all the studies. And when you're in that position, then you need to write out what you worry about. So on a notebook, on an iPad or whatever, you are you're worrying because you're not seeing that you're worried about. So you write a line halfway in the middle and write out how you cannot control and what you cannot control. And then something like what you cannot control is working up early within the library and studying for X amount of hours and staying focused when you're studying. When you cannot control is the actual grade that I'm going to get from this course. So if I correlate who am I going to be, I'm going to be B plus and then I plus. You cannot control that. Just focus on what you can control and you just have to give up on what you cannot control. Okay, so I'm done with this one and I feel really exalted for now and I don't have any strength to talk with you right now. So, okay, bye.